Scene 1. The Perfect Life. Claire lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Ohio. She had been married to her husband, Mark, for over 20 years. Together, they had built a life that many would envy: a beautiful home, two successful kids in college, and a stable, comfortable routine. But beneath the surface, Claire felt something was missing. She loved Mark, but the spark they once had seemed to have faded. The days blended together, and she couldn't shake the feeling that she was living on autopilot. Scene 2. The Encounter. One day, while volunteering at a local charity event, Claire met Daniel. He was charming, witty, and unlike anyone she had met in years. Daniel was a freelance photographer, full of stories about his travels and adventures. They started talking, and before she knew it, they were exchanging numbers. What began as innocent conversation soon turned into something deeper. Claire found herself looking forward to his texts, his calls, and the way he made her feel seen, something she hadn't felt in years. Scene 3. The Temptation. Claire knew it was wrong. She had always prided herself on being a loyal wife and a good mother, but the more time she spent with Daniel, the harder it became to resist. One evening, after a particularly emotional conversation with Mark about their stagnant relationship, Claire made a decision she never thought she would. She met Daniel at a quiet cafe, and one thing led to another. That night, she crossed a line she couldn't uncross. Scene 4. The Guilt. The next morning, Claire woke up with a heavy heart. The guilt was overwhelming. She couldn't look Mark in the eye, and every time her phone buzzed, she felt a pang of anxiety. She tried to convince herself that it was a one-time mistake, but deep down, she knew it wasn't. Daniel continued to reach out, and Claire found herself torn between the life she had built and the excitement she felt with him. Scene 5. The Breaking Point. Weeks turned into months, and Claire's double life began to take its toll. She became distant, irritable, and Mark started to notice. One night, after a heated argument, Mark confronted her. "Is there someone else?" he asked. Claire froze. The truth was on the tip of her tongue, but she couldn't bring herself to say it. Instead, she broke down in tears, confessing everything. The look on Mark's face shattered her. It was a mix of betrayal, hurt, and disbelief. Scene 6. The Aftermath. The days that followed were some of the hardest of Claire's life. Mark moved out temporarily, and their kids were devastated when they found out. Claire felt like she had lost everything: her family, her integrity, and the life she had worked so hard to build. But in the midst of the chaos, she began to reflect on her choices. She realized that her affair wasn't just about Daniel. It was about her own unhappiness and the need to feel alive again. Scene 7. The Road to Redemption. Claire decided to take responsibility for her actions. She ended things with Daniel and started therapy to understand why she had made the choices she did. She also reached out to Mark, not to beg for forgiveness, but to apologize and take accountability. It wasn't easy, and the road to rebuilding trust was long, but Claire was determined to become a better person, for herself and for her family. Closing scene. A new beginning. Today, Claire's life looks very different. She and Mark are still working on their marriage, but they've both committed to being honest and open with each other. Claire has also rediscovered her passions: painting, hiking, and even volunteering again, but this time with a renewed sense of purpose. Her story is a reminder that even in our darkest moments, there's always a chance for growth and redemption.